Hello everyone. Hi guys. Hi Hannah.
Hello.
Hi Mike.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to this new episode of the EmpowHer Journey, the community that supports your self-growth and help you live by your own rules. And this month, the theme is can you be your best friend? How to be your best friend and tips to embrace who you truly are. And we're super lucky to have an amazing guest with us, Mike Bedford. Yay! Super excited.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me on your podcast.
We're super excited to have you, Mike. It's so special. You are the founder and director of Be Brilliant People Development, a certified coach, trainer, and expert in people development. And we're so excited to hear about you. And our first question on our show is always, what is your EmpowHer journey? Can you tell us more about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And thanks again for inviting me on the show to be able to share some of my journey with your listeners. Story about myself. It's one that I've told a few times. I think people who know me will be quite familiar with my sort of story as well. But for those who don't, let me just kind of share a little bit of background about myself. So I kind of bombed out of education and school with no qualifications whatsoever, kind of thinking that I didn't really have any kind of route to take in life, and academia was never going to be somewhere I could possibly go or achieve anything in. And back when I was at school, I'm also a neurodivergent person as well. So back when I was in school, there was little understanding or awareness of anything like dyslexia or ADHD or autism or any of the various neurodivergent spectrum conditions. So I kind of flopped and bombed out of school and kind of ended up trialing out lots of different jobs and experiences and kind of tried to find out what worked for me and what didn't. And eventually kind of stumbled my way into kind of the public sector. I'm working for the government. And that created a whole lot of opportunities. And the backstory behind that actually is I was in a job centre and I met a coach, even though they probably didn't call themselves a coach back then, who kind of coached me and gave me some self-belief that actually look at all the kind of experience and the background and skills that you've got and you can actually achieve whatever you want to achieve. And gave me that kind of confidence and self-belief to actually enable me to kind of start setting about my own journey then. And ironically, I ended up then joining the same kind of public sector organisation that they were working in too. And slowly but surely kind of progressed through the different kind of levels of grades and seniority, taking on board lots of different experiences as I went, always having a kind of anchor around developing people. So people development has always been my thing over the last 22 years of my career as well. And chances presented themselves and I ended up falling back into education and actually gaining qualifications. So I kind of went back and kind of did some basic level qualifications to begin with, kind of because I left school with no qualifications at all. So I kind of did my English, my maths, my IT, then progressed into kind of more business studies and organizational development, then progressed into learning and development, became qualified in that, up to the stage where I'm at now, kind of now completing my level 7 executive coaching and mentoring diploma, which is equivalent to a master's degree, which, to be honest with you, I'm pretty proud of that, leaving school with absolutely no qualifications and literally thinking I could never achieve anything like that, and that wasn't possible. Actually developing, which we'll probably talk about later in this podcast, what I call a growth mindset, and using that to actually get to where I am now. No, by no means a finished article, but by embracing that growth mindset, it's really kind of helped me kind of get to where I am now and kind of get the self-belief in myself and kind of find that passion for learning and that curiosity and that love of helping people to be the best versions of themselves.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's lovely. Yeah.
So inspiring.
And you can definitely be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
For sure. So did you say 16 when you dropped school? Was it that 16?
15, I left school.
15, yeah.
15, yeah.
Oh.
I left school early because I didn't see any point carrying on.
And I love the story about this person that became a model for you, that coached you, even though it was maybe called coaching at the time, to really see this potential, to really show you a different perspective.
Yeah, I wish I knew who they were, Clem. I said in a post recently what I wrote about what I've just shared with you, that I'm forever grateful to that person for kind of igniting that spark within me, which I kind of was there, but it just needed. And that's the power of coaching. It was kind of not telling me what to do, but kind of helping me to kind of find my own path and find my own way as well. And that's kind of where I kind of really hit upon the I didn't probably know it was coaching back then, but hit upon the power of actually helping someone to kind of find their own path and their own inner brilliance.
Yeah, be brilliant, right?
That's the name. Now it's starting to all join up, isn't it? You can see the pattern now, right?
Yeah. And I love how what you got from that moment really inspired to do that yourself with others. I really see how developing yourself has enabled you then to become that for others, which is such an amazing way to give back. I found that absolutely lovely.
And I certainly think from speaking to the majority of people who work in sort of profession that we're in, have that inner passion for wanting to help others get better at what they do and to grow as well. I've not really met anyone in our profession who says they don't really care about that.
Oh, no.
That's a good sign. But it's so true. It's so true that it seems to be a theme. I agree with you. That's also other people's journey to getting to do a job like ours. Amazing.
So we have another question for you. You talked about neurodiversion and neurodiversity. Can you tell us a bit more about it and explain why it is really important for you?
Yeah, thank you for the platform for talking about this as well. I really appreciate that, because this is a subject that I'm really passionate about, and that's really important to me and close to my heart as well. So yeah, thank you. So it's an often misunderstood concept, is neurodiversity. It's quite a trendy word to kind of throw around, particularly in organisations and things like that. But there's a lot of misconceptions and misunderstanding about what it actually means. So it's language as well, because language is really important when you're talking about people and you're talking about the differences that we all have as well. So in really its most plain layman's terms, we are all of us neurodiverse. So when you talk about neurodiversity, you're talking about everybody. You're talking about all of us, and that we're all different, and that we all have different nuances and traits and so on and so forth. But what we all aren't is neurodivergent, and that's where the difference starts to happen. So a neurodivergent person diverges from the neurotypical and the neurodiverse, and that's a different path. So you go down a different path. Doesn't mean you're any less of a person, any less intelligent, any less capable. It just means you have different challenges, but also lots of different strengths and benefits as well. So in my case, for example, the neurodivergent spectrum covers lots of different conditions. So for those who might not be familiar with it, you'd be looking at things like ADHD, dyslexia, dyscalculia, Tourette's, autism, Asperger's, and so on and so forth. It's well worth looking into this if it's something that you're interested in, becoming a more inclusive person, a more inclusive organisation. And so within that umbrella, I fall under the ADHD, dyslexia, dyscalculia conditions. And that presents different opportunities and also different challenges for me. So my mind is constantly jumping around with different ideas. I've got really good strategic thinking and real natural inbuilt ability to be able to fix things and to see things and see spot patterns and join things up and join the dots up, which kind of fits well with coaching as well, because being a coach, you have to kind of join a lot of dots together as well. So I kind of, that really kind of fits nicely with me, because I like problem solving. So, but without kind of getting down to granular detail on this, and each person with each condition has different strengths, challenges, and opportunities as well. For me, it's about recognizing, understanding, and educating yourself about what these differences are, and how you can help support, again, coming back to supporting people to be the best versions of themselves, which is what we're all in this profession to do. It's taking that to the next level, and then understanding that actually there's a whole lot of people out there that are different, and how can you help them be the best versions of themselves as well. And that's what I certainly strive to do within my own business, Be Brilliant People Development. So I help coach and support both neurodivergent and neurotypical people to be the best versions of themselves as well. But I understand from real lived experience of what some of those challenges are, and how people can put in place strategies to help get the best out of those different conditions, and can again be the best versions of themselves.
Awesome. That's, yeah. So from a challenge that you had as a child, you thrived, and you are now helping people about this, and this is a real gift in the end. So every challenges that we have are in the end gifts, if we can see it that way.
Yeah, definitely. I always see challenges as opportunities. As well, and I'm very much, my kind of style is very much kind of coaching the whole person, as well. But I'm also very much focused on people's strengths as well, and it's a really important consideration, particularly when you're working with someone who's perhaps had their confidence taken away from them, and had their self-belief taken away and knocked over the years as well. So it's helping that person be able to actually focus on, like, what happened with me, what your kind of core strengths are as well, and what you can actually build on that. Play to your strengths is what I always tell people. Do what you're good at, develop where you can, but focus on your strengths. Don't ever see your strengths as something that's not a positive. Actually play to them, align yourself to them, and you'll go far in life.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. What I love about this idea as well of neurodiversity, this new concept, and before I met you, Mike, I had no clue. I didn't know what that was, and I love the fact that it really is here to really counteract those stereotypes, even the judgments. You know, it really gets rid of that, and connected to that, I think you're a great model and example of being able to transcend the limitations that could be normally associated with dyslexia, HDD, or of course you can't do, that there's like, most people would think you can't do that if, so limiting yourself in a lot of ways. So that's really an amazing way to break those patterns, to get rid of the stereotypes, it's liberating. If as you said, if you're not doing it just like for, like I imagine some companies using that just for, for good communication, or not really going into the depths of what it is. But if you do, it's really, really liberating. Is that what's been your experience working as well with companies and organization, helping with inclusion and neurodiversity in the companies?
Yeah, definitely, and you're right. I think there's certainly a long way to go. I don't think we're at some kind of nirvana where everyone's treated with equity and equality, and people feel like they belong. I think there's still a way to go, but I think the conversation's certainly happening more, and the realization that actually our brains are wonderful things, and the fact that some of us are programmed to think differently is not a bad thing. It just means that we can see things that others can't, and that's surely a good thing, particularly as a lot of the skills that neurodivergent people have are real human skills. So empathy, compassion, working with people, all of those kind of core people skills are things that at this moment in time are not able to be easily replicated. And as we think into the future and what the workforce and of the future looks like, and as more and more linear type things become automated, then I've said it before in a previous podcast, there's never been a better time to be alive if you're a neurodivergent person.
Definitely. As on the personal level, when I was a kid, I had hyperactivity, and I haven't been diagnosed, so I really don't know what I am. But I had no friends growing up, no friends, because I was different. My brain was really fast. I was really clever, and I got a lot of jealousy around me. In France, where I live right now, it's funny because when you are this kind of kid, they say it stops when you're an adult, and that's totally that's so wrong.
It's for life. It's not just for Christmas.
I still have it right now. I'm still the same person, and I really had to embrace how I am, how I think, how I behave, how empathetic I am, and everything. And that's amazing that right now we can be just ourselves. And there's a lot of complementarity in being different, because we are all different and we are all human in the same time. And neurodiversity is really amazing. Inclusion is amazing. And I really wish it goes further and further.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Anna. As well, my radar's kind of like tingling now towards you. My neurodivergent radar is tingling.
But I found a book like 2 years ago. It was the kind of kid, it's a precocious kid. They don't disappear. You are still an adult with this diagnosis. And I'm like, oh my God, that's me. That's still who I am. And it was like a breakthrough for me.
It's not like a cold, is it? You kind of just don't get, it just doesn't go away and then come back. It's not seasonal. Like I said, I mean, over in the UK, it's kind of been given all kinds of like labels, different neurodiverse, so like ADD or ADHD, what you're talking about there has been branded as like naughty child syndrome and things like that. I mean, it's actually quite sickening when you when you think about it. Hopefully we're progressing more now than certainly when I was a child, and I was just branded as just being a naughty kid who couldn't pay attention, basically. Hopefully there's more education out there now, and more kind of like Senko teachers and things in school, and more support through special educational needs and things like that. But again, being a neurodivergent person, you also wouldn't particularly want to feel like you were being labelled and made to feel different and stand out from the crowd. That's the last thing on earth I would have wanted at school, because I'd have just been bullied senselessly if someone had kind of found out that I'd have been put in a special class and bullied absolutely senselessly. So I would never have ever have even revealed that, even if that was the case and the kind of support would have been there. It just wouldn't have been a safe space to do that either as well. So, I'm more confident that there's more of a safe space for psychological safety now for people to actually start to be more authentically themselves. To
be who they are.
I'm not convinced again that we're there, but I think we're progressing towards that, certainly. And having this conversation out loud is certainly, and again, thank you for promoting this and having the conversation. I think we need to keep on having the conversation and embracing diversity and difference in all its glory.
Absolutely. That was really the fact of having you as a guest specifically for this theme, like to embrace who you truly are, be your best friend, is what we touched based on. For me, it's really, really connected to understanding and the awareness of what's there for others. But that always also makes a resonance with yourself, doesn't it? Because we're all different, as we said. So we might have different learning styles. We might have difficulties in some places, even if we quite neurotypical, aren't we? We can all embrace that and have some compassion for others, but as well remembering that we don't, we push ourselves so hard all the time and trying to be perfect or reaching for an ideal. A lot of time that's a big sabotage, isn't it? That's why we become our worst enemy.
The best one I had was, well, you look normal, Mike. That was one of the best. That was one of the best ones I had. Well, you
Oh
look
my
normal,
God.
Mike.
Oh.
When I kind of built up the confidence to say someone what some of my challenges are, the response to that was, "Well, you look normal."
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Yeah.
That wasn't too long ago in the too distant past. I might add. No names mentioned, obviously, but you know that's kind of some of the challenges that we still have to deal with and live
every
with.
day.
That's so interesting, because what does that even mean? Normal. I mean,
well, yeah, exactly. What is normal? That's
and
a
looking
looking
like normal. What does that mean? Yeah,
I have no idea. I asked that person to explain what that is.
Yeah.
What are you normal? What does that mean? What is normal?
What does that mean? Yeah.
Do you know? What does one have to look like to be considered normal? I have no idea. In which case, I'm very proud not to be normal. By the way, I embrace my weirdness in all its glory and my unnormalness. I'm proud to be different, actually.
Yeah, and as you say as well, and I love the concept of being brilliant, because maybe being brilliant, as you say, is being different. Because in the end, we are all different, either neurodivergent, neurotypical, or whatever. It isn't true that we are not different.
No, we're wonderful creatures of human beings, and the difference in us all is what makes us so wonderful, and why we've evolved to where we are to be the dominant species of the planet, right? Yeah. Because we are all different. We're not all just clones of one thing, and we don't all think, look, sound the same. Although sometimes when you look at kind of how organizations act and do, you might be forgiven for thinking that is the case, but actually we're not. And again, it comes back to this point about we really need to embrace, celebrate, and recognize that being different is a wonderful thing, and that brings so many opportunities and diversity of thought.
And it's so much more exciting than normal, like the difference brings the richness. While I think it's been perceived, and I don't know what you think of that, Mike, but it's been perceived forever as something negative. Something not good to be different. So it's
exhausting. Trying to be the same is exhausting. And for years I'm masked, and for people who aren't familiar with that term, that means that you're putting on a mask to try to be like everybody else. And in neurodivergent circles, the term masking is very, very familiar. And again, I spent a huge proportion of my life trying to fit in and try to be like everybody else, and that is absolutely draining on your well-being and on your mental health, and it leads to kind of depression and anxiety and unnecessary suffering for that individual, when in fact, again, we should just be able to celebrate people's differences and really welcome authenticity into our lives and into our workplaces, and that then relieves that and helps people, maybe not immediately, but helps people to start slowly peeling that mask off and being their true authentic versions of themselves.
It's a process. So what's your experience with coaching people to help them to turn those differences and gradually tend to see them as strength, or transform them sometimes into strengths they can really rely on, that could really help support their lives? What's your approach? And
it often floats across the coaching and mentoring continuum as well, because being someone who's got a lot of lived experience as well, when I'm working with someone who I can understand where they are and where they're going through as well, I can bring a different perspective and angle to that as well. Again, for me as a coach, looking at it from a coaching perspective, it's focusing, helping that person to focus on what their strengths are, what their opportunities are to be able to play to those strengths and align themselves to what really matters to them. So what's their purpose, what are their values, where do they want to be, and how can I help them get to where they want to be? So therefore, it's a stepped process, isn't it, as well? It's not a kind of, we'll just get you from there to there overnight. Actually, it's a stepped process. So we have to go through different stepping stones to get there as well. And that could be building small goals to get to a big goal, or getting small goals to a bigger goal and a bigger ones. It depends. It's so individual to that individual person, isn't it, as well? And where they are on their journey, and therefore how can I help them get to where they want to be?
Yeah, that's really, really cool. And do you have like examples, or do you remember working with some people and how they had maybe some breakthroughs into something that they've been seeing in themselves as something, you know, really of something negative forever in their lives, and then suddenly they're like, oh, that's actually a strength I could build on, I could do something with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the majority of my clients I work with fall into that category as well. So they'll have had challenging experiences in their lives as well, and it's helping them turn that around again, focusing on, okay, so let's learn from that experience. What did you learn from that experience? What can you use from that to help you progress and get to where you need to go as well? So one of my clients, you know, were facing difficult personal circumstances, in terms of work challenges and things like that. But we looked at that in the whole and looked at, well, where do we need to focus on? What are the kind of key issues where we need to help you progress first and foremost to get past those, so we can actually focus on the next challenge, and so on and so forth. And eventually till they move back into employment again, into a role which is what they wanted to where they wanted to be. And then keep looking at kind of, well, how can you progress then from where you are to where you want to get to? So again, that stepping stones approach as well. So it's continuously working with the client to help them identify where it is they want to get to, and then kind of helping them draw that map to actually get there as well. And that's the same with pretty much every client I work with.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, great to remember that's valid for all sorts of challenges. We've talked about, of course, the differences that we might experience with learning difficulties or things like that, but it's applicable to, I love your example for that, because it's applicable to any challenge that we come across in life.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's understanding what your clients is saying, isn't it? Really, it's actually listening really to what their challenges are, and you know, then helping them understand how they can overcome those challenges and get to where it is they want to get to. Ultimately, it's about them, not us.
Yeah, 100%. Empowering.
About sorry. About all that, at the beginning you were talking about growth mindset, and that's something really important for you. Can you share with us your vision on this subject?
Yeah, well, I mean, you've heard my story about how I benefited from adopting a growth mindset. So my perspective is always, if I can do it, anyone can do it as well. And I just help people to understand what a growth mindset. It sounds quite a high level, fancy, term, doesn't it? A growth mindset. I mean, what does that mean? Is that something that chief executives, have? And it's not something I could possibly have. But everybody, can grow and can be better and can be the best version of themselves. So for me, a growth mindset and being the best version of yourself are symbiotic as well. So it's adopting that mantra and that language around being able to, I can help you get to be the best versions of yourself and be your authentic best version of yourself. And for me, if you've got those two things combined, you've got authenticity and you've got being able to be the best version of yourself. That is a growth mindset that can really help you get to grow and to get to where you need to get to. And the growth will come as you progress along that journey as well, and celebrating all the great things that you've done as well to get you there.
And on a day-to-day basis, how do you use your growth mindset?
Well, for me, it's continuously learning from every experience that I'm in. This is a growth opportunity. I've had several conversations today. I'm part of a project I'm working on to bring coaching to thousands of people across the country in the next few months as well, that I'm going to be co-delivering and design. So for me, every day is an opportunity for growth and for learning. Learning's a core part part of who I am. So authenticity is one of my core values, but also so is learning and being curious. All of those things combined really kind of help cement what I perceive to be a growth mindset.
Yeah, it's a great reminder, isn't it? Because it doesn't mean that because you're a coach you're not keep on doing the work. It's something we talk about often on the podcast, is that we're also on the journey. We're also doing it.
It's never ending. It's
never.
Like the nirvana, I guess, is kind of the end outcome, but will you ever get there? That's the kind of the continuous journey. It's like climbing to the summit of a never-ending mountain, I guess, but you're always progressing towards the peak. You might never reach the peak, but you're always progressing towards it, and you're making steps and progress all the while. And you can see the progress that you've made, and how you're progressing as a person as well.
Absolutely. The beauty of the journey.
Yeah, like the little visualization I did there as well with the mountain. Did that take you to like somewhere like Mount Everest or?
Yeah. Yeah, I love this analogy actually of mountain climbing, and I love what you described about growth mindset as well, because maybe for some people as well, we hear a lot about the word growth, let's say connected to the economy, or like making more profit, or but what you described about how you get there by being yourself, embracing who you truly are, being this as authentic as you can be, then can you access growth? I think it really brings a very different perspective to what we might hear a lot about, in sort of the neo-capitalism sort of context about growth. And that is a very, I agree with you. I have the same perception about what growth mindset is, which is by being you, using your unique strength, being uniquely you, then can you access.
You are your USP, right?
Exactly.
It's about human energy. I always say when someone asks me what your USP is, I say it's me. I'm my USP. And then you can go into expand into what that actually means. But actually, the core basis of it is that I am unique. I am authentic, and I bring myself to the table, and all that comes with me. That's what you get from partnering with me or working with me, is you get 100% me.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And by doing that, showing that, inspiring others to do that too. There's so many people and so many ways trying to be someone they're not, or reaching for goals as well that are, I don't know, fashionable, or they want what the neighbor has because they think, okay, maybe that's what's going to make me happy. And they, there's a disconnection with who they truly are. So I think it's important to insist on that, like your ultimate realization, as you say, the highest version of yourself. You're only going to get there by reaching, by accessing. Who you really are. That's the path. That's the path to happiness as well. Is being yourself, and being aligned to your purpose. As well, and that's not an easy journey to make either. That can be a challenging journey to make, and that can be a difficult self-reflection too, as well. And again, I don't proclaim to be some kind of guru or messiah on this. I can only kind of share that I'm on that journey, and the more that I live my authentic life, the better I feel, and the more rewarded I feel in my life, and I feel like I'm being myself.
I think it was Oscar Wilde that said, "Be yourself because all the others are already taken." And I really love this sentence for I can't be someone else. I just can be myself and embrace myself and be who I am.
Yeah, but yet so often in life we strive to be, as you say, others. We have that kind of that FOMO, don't we? That's kind of built in now, that kind of fear of missing out, and that's reinforced by kind of like media and social media, and looking over the other side of the fence to see what someone else has got, and why can't I have this, and why can't I do that, and I want to be more like them, or I want to do that. It's the wrong place to focus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's easy the example of social media, I think, is great for that. You get lost by looking on the outside for answers, because we're all looking for happiness, a better life, better feeling better, etc., fulfillment, and we're looking outside for answers while
the answers are here. It's here all along, and that's the irony of it, isn't it? Is that we often look hard for things that are so close to us that we can't actually see it. You know. Can't see the wood for the trees, as they say.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the more we look outside, the lonelier we feel. I remember when I was a kid and I wanted to be normal, I wanted to be accepted, I wanted to be part of the group because I was not. I felt really lonely because I wasn't myself. I was trying to be someone else. And that was the worst. And when we just embrace and we just accept who we are, have the awareness of, okay, I'm different and that's okay, and I can be who I am, you can really find true love in people and find real connection with others. And that's the word to me. The journey, you can't be alone on the journey if you're yourself. And that's a message I really want to let it go.
So true. And that resonates so much with me, Anna. Thank you for sharing that. And I feel like I was actually there with you then in that moment as well. And I 100%, I totally empathize and know what that feels like as well. And as you rightly say, when you start to get that self-actualization and realization of being yourself, then you start to surround yourself with people who are aligned to your values and sense of purpose as well, and start to live a much happier life.
And the right opportunities are coming and everything is aligned because you are aligned.
We stop trying so much to kind of, I mean, as humans, we natural people pleasers. We want to please everybody, don't we? You know, and actually, if you just be yourself, you know, a lot of that can just happen quite naturally without all of that effort and without all of that stress and without putting so much pressure on yourself. And perhaps that contributes to, you know, a lot of the issues that we're having right now around mental health and well-being as well.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. And what you describe, and it's so wonderful because it could be perceived as a paradox initially, no? Because we were afraid of being ourselves initially to a fear of rejection, no? Fear of being alone, fear of being not belonging, not being accepted by others, while it's actually it creates exactly the opposite. And the way to be actually with people in a true way, as you said, really connected with the relationship, completely agree with you, is only, again, by being authentic. So again, going back to our message of authenticity, this is the only way, maybe connecting to people with similar values, but also people on a similar path, a similar looking for themselves.
And the fact that we connect to ourselves, to connect with our nature, make us connecting to the environment, to the earth, to everything. If we are true to ourselves, we can be true to everything else around us, not especially people or relationship, but with everything. We really feel that we belong. And that's really important, to feel like I am myself and I belong where I am. I deserve everything I have right now. And that's that's really safe place to be in.
I agree with everything that you both just said as well. And talking about a growth mindset piece as well, you know, growth mindset is about learning about yourself as well, and reflecting and understanding yourself, and really getting to know yourself and how you can be your authentic self. That's part of a growth mindset as well.
Definitely.
That's very, very powerful. That's awesome. So the last question on an episode of the EmpowHer Journey is always about the tips you would give to your younger self. So, Mike, if you could go back in time, what would you tell your younger self if you could?
It's easy, is that one? And we've talked about this throughout. It's the golden thread that I think runs throughout this podcast, isn't it? I would just say, Mike, just be yourself. Be your authentic self. Don't try to be anybody else. Just be yourself, and follow the path, follow your heart, and live your best authentic life. Get the support where you need the support. And I'd probably have a word with myself and point myself in the direction to get a bit of support. But apart from that, my advice to myself would be to be yourself, be your best authentic self.
That is so beautiful. And I think it recaps, as you say, what we've been talking about.
One sentence.
But also the advice of getting help. I don't know if it's been your experience too, but it's so easy to be so hard on ourselves. Like I should get there on my own. I shouldn't need any help. You know, it's something we hear over and over again with people that come to a coach and are like, I don't want to be dependent on someone.
Or I'm not important enough to get better. I'm not important enough.
Yeah.
To get some help, and I'm different, thing, right? So I can be right.
Yeah, and that's masking right there as well. And I can only share that my experience, I wasn't diagnosed formally until later in life, but that was a real epiphany, penny drop moment for me. When I got that formal diagnosis, I cried, because those things in life that were didn't make sense. I just didn't understand why I was so different. Why couldn't I do this? Why didn't that make sense? Why couldn't I fit in? All of these things actually made sense and suddenly joined up. And then it was just like it's like anyone who's familiar with like the Matrix, kind of like waking up in the Matrix, like Neo in the Matrix, and discovering that this is a whole new world, really. And I'm going to have to actually learn all about this whole new world now, but I'm a completely different person to what it was before I went in and got that diagnosis.
So did you say it was the understanding, the allowing? What was it?
Well, I was living a lie beforehand. I was living a lie, trying to fit into a world that I didn't understand, and I couldn't kind of fit in, and you know, I was kind of a proverbial square peg in a round hole and didn't understand why. But actually getting that diagnosis really kind of helped me discover who I am as a person. And that was when my journey of self-discovery, I think, really started.
Nice.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And and again, this importance of someone else's perspective. So that might be with the diagnosis, that might be with accessing what we've got inside of us. Sometimes it's, you know, we're all human. We all need each other to progress on that journey as well, and go even further than on our own. So so these, I love that you reminded that to your younger self. Like, don't try to do it alone. And I want to also give that message to people listening to our audience. It's, don't try to, you know, don't struggle alone, and don't stay stuck where you are. Just reach out. Your friends, your family, other professionals. Just really look for what's going to help you. Just don't stay alone.
I agree.
Me too.
Brilliant. So thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you, Mike,
for being a guest today. Thank you. We really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. There'll be all the details to connect with Mike in the description below. All the links to his website, social media links. He also has an amazing podcast, so you want to go and check that out and listen to some of the episodes, and all of the episodes as well. Just don't hesitate to reach out, connect on LinkedIn, and make the most of everything that has been shared with you today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being with us. Don't hesitate to subscribe. Hit subscribe before you go. And if you have any comments or shares or requests, you can send us an email at theempowherjourney@gmail.com. See you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.